Shotgun with Charlie.
Riding shotgun refers to the practice of sitting next to the driver in a moving vehicle. The term riding shotgun came around after the time of the stagecoach, when somebody used to sit next to the driver holding a shotgun, in case they ran into bandits. My name is Charlie Cook, and I drive a lot. I like to talk to people while I'm driving, so I interview people in my car while I'm driving. Welcome to Riding Shotgun with Charlie.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Today I have with me Tammy, whose last name I can't pronounce.
It's Mihm.
But it's not spelled that way.
No,
How you
it's
spell it?
M-I-H-M.
M-I-H, the H is silent?
Yes.
All right, so we have Tammy Mihm. Tammy Mihm owns Shots Fired Jewerly, and we are going to talk with her as we ride around scenic Connecticut. We're somewhere in Connecticut, right?
We're in Killingly, Connecticut.
Connecticut. We're going to find some cool roads to drive down and maybe get some good scenery like that.
It is very pretty out here.
It is pretty cool out here. It's I like Connecticut. Seems like it's New England, but it doesn't seem like New England for some reason. I don't know why, but it's got all the cool New England stuff.
It does.
It's got the little towns,
You
the
have
hills,
the coastal
the trees,
towns, and then you have the inner
the beach towns.
Yep.
Totally. All right, so before we get into jewelry stuff, let's find out. You're going to have to give me some directions, by the way.
Okay, that's fine.
All right. Let's find out about about how you got into shooting and how you got into gun stuff and how that worked its way into your jewelry business.
Sure. So, when I was a kid, my dad used to take us out shooting. We had shotguns all over the place. And back then, like I had said before, you could ride around in a pickup truck with the guns in a rack in the back of the pickup truck, and it was perfectly legal.
Right.
So we used to go shooting all the time, and take a right, and at the end of this road, take a left. Well, at the stop sign.
Okay.
So, that was my experience was with shotguns.
Mm-hmm.
And you had to take that left.
I had to take that. You said get to the end of the road.
That's fine. We can get there going straight.
We can still get there from here.
So, I wasn't a stranger to using guns or being around them, and both of my brothers have moved from using shotguns. I have one brother who is in Illinois. He went into the military. He was a sharpshooter in the Marine Corps.
Wow.
He lives out in Illinois.
Where does he live in Illinois?
He's in Alton, Illinois.
In Alton, very cool.
Yeah. Take a left.
All right. I grew up in Illinois.
Did you? Yeah. He's as a matter of fact, I'm going out there in a couple of weeks to see him get married.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So he's all about having his freedom, and the same with my other brother, Jimmy, who lives in Attleboro or Norton, Mass, where we grew up, and he is a police officer on the Norton Police Department.
God bless him.
And he's been there for quite some time. So both of them, when my father passed away, they ended up with my father's guns. I didn't have a large interest in it. I was taking care of my mom for a very long time after my father passed away.
Sure.
My mother had a lot of health issues and also a lot of depression issues. So having firearms in the house wasn't really an option or a thought to me.
Sure.
While I had her.
That makes sense.
So in August of 2015, I was working at a bank in Rhode Island. And I was there for a long time. I was there for about 12 years. I was a compliance officer. I got laid off. In May, following that August, I lost my mother.
I'm sorry.
So I was sitting there wondering, you want to take a left here?
Okay.
What I was going to do, trying to find work.
Yeah, what do you do now?
Right. Still hadn't had any kind of pistol training or anything on my mind.
Mm-hmm.
A good friend of mine that I used to work with called me and said, "What are you doing today?" And I was sitting at home, pretty much doing nothing. I was by myself at that point.
Right.
No job. I didn't have my mom. He said, "Why don't you come come out to the range with me? And I said, sure. I was scared to death because I knew that he liked pistols. When you get to here, you want to go straight.
Straight, all right.
But I liked guns, and I support the Second Amendment, and I truly believe that we all have the right to protect ourselves. And it was something that I was interested in, but I didn't know how much at that point.
Right.
So I went with him that day, and he taught me how to shoot a pistol. I loved it.
Excellent.
I couldn't. It was so much different from handling a shotgun.
A shotgun, yeah.
Right. It was so much different. It was so much fun. Once I left the range, I went that day and I went down to the town hall and found out how to apply for my carry license in Connecticut.
Cool.
So I got all the forms.
How was that process? Is it easy? Is it a pain in the neck?
It was hard to find out how to do it at first, but well, they had all the forms there, so I just took the forms. I didn't know how to fill them out, and then I started looking online, and ACE's Defense came up because they were NRA instructors, and luck be they were right at the end of my street.
That's perfect.
So I called them and I said, I got these forms, but I don't know what to do with them. And he said, you need to have a class.
Right.
So I had to take, it was a 2-part class. It's a written, you have to go through the NRA first and take the computer exam. You want to take it right here at the lights.
Okay. And then you got to do the live fire.
And then you have to do the live class, right, which was a whole day. It was 8 hours.
That's cool.
And then from there, they submitted the forms for me, and they took my fingerprints. Where it got tricky, not only do they nickel and dime you to death with all the different fees,
right?
But my fingerprints were rejected 7 times.
7 times?
7 times. It took me...
That's crazy.
16 months to get my...
16 months?
Yeah.
How do your fingerprints get rejected?
I don't know, because I've always worked for a bank, and I've always had my fingerprints taken, and both of my brothers have never been in trouble. You want to go straight?
Okay.
I've never been in trouble, so I've never had a criminal record, so I don't know.
You had no reason to file your fingerprints off?
No. So, that was a challenge. I didn't know what to do except keep going. I think they wanted me to give up, which that wasn't going to happen because I really wanted my license to carry at that point.
Yeah, that's a lot of... it's interesting when you talk to the anti-gun people. They'll say they don't want restrictions. They don't want to put any limitations on anything. But they're all for making it difficult. They're all for making it expensive. They're all for making it very timely for people in order to get their license.
Yeah.
And that's like a backdoor way to having gun control.
Yeah. And one of the things that really upsets me is that now, like I work in Massachusetts now, so the right for me to protect myself ends at the state line.
Yeah, that's
so I can't,
ridiculous.
and I don't work in a great area of Massachusetts. It's right in downtown Southbridge,
right?
Which is not very appealing.
I hear you.
I
might know a gun instructor in Massachusetts that can help you out.
So that would be the next step: is spending more money to get a Mass license. That's in the future.
Gotcha. Would you? I don't want to say what your work is, but would you be able to carry at work? Would that be an option?
No. I don't think so. I'm not really sure.
Okay. But I mean, you could still, like, they have little safes. You could unload the gun and leave it in the safe in the car.
Absolutely.
Which would be cool.
Right. Which is what I would do.
Right.
Because I think my problem wouldn't be so much when I'm in the building.
Right.
It would be outside the building.
Sure. Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you the bad news. Talk about nickel and diming you. The bad news with Massachusetts gun licenses is, as a non-Massachusetts resident, your permit is going to be $100 a year, every year, which is ridiculous. So yeah, and I always tell people that you have to go to Chelsea to apply for your non-res permit, and I always say Chelsea, where you need a gun.
Right. Or Brockton.
You need a gun in Brockton.
Or Brockton. I used to work there.
Oh,
in
man.
Brockton. But getting back to my story, when I lost my mom, there were so many flowers in my house from the funeral parlor, and they were beautiful. And I wanted to preserve them. I didn't want to just throw them out. So I got online and I started researching how to preserve funeral flowers so that you always have something to remember that person by. And it also helped me mentally
Sure.
to deal with her death
Yeah.
and not having a job and being home. You know, once the crowd left, I was literally by myself,
Right.
which was hard. So I found a way to make memory beads out of the flowers once they were dried.
That's
you could
cool.
actually make beads and then make like bracelets out of them or rosary beads. So that's where
Out
the
of
jewelry,
out of the flower petals.
out of the flower petals. There's a
But
way to-
they're not that durable.
They are. They really are.
They are?
Yeah, and they keep their color too if they're dried right.
Wow.
So there's
had
like
no
a
clue.
polymer clay that you can use, and you break up the flour really small,
Okay.
and you roll it in the clay, and then you make the beads out of it. And
Wow.
You bake them, and then I had a whole process where I could actually make them to look like a store-bought bead.
How do you find out how to do all this?
I just went online. I
Googled
YouTubed it, right? Googled it. How can I preserve flowers?
Wow.
So, you know, it was keeping my mind off of things, and I made
Sure.
bracelets for all of her granddaughters.
Oh, that's
And then
very
I
sweet.
made the rosary beads for all of her grandsons and like my brothers, and gave them away that Christmas as gifts.
Cool.
At the same time as when I had gone to the range. Second time I went shooting, I stepped it up a notch and went from a 9mm to a 45. Well, when the 45 casing hit the ground, I was like, oh my God, that's pretty. Because it was shiny, and you know, I'm
Right.
a woman and I like pretty shiny things. And I said to my friend, I said, I bet you I can make a necklace out of that. And I took the casing and I went home and I asked my husband, I said, I need to cut this flat. So we, you know, figured out how to cut it with hand cut with the hacksaw, the first one. And I filed the back. Here, you want to take a right? Filed the back flat, found a setting. I went through, I Googled all the different jewelry suppliers, and I found one and was able to order the setting that would fit. I measured it with a little micrometer, make sure that it was all, yeah, I wanted it, you know, because I was going to wear it and
Sure.
to remember that day.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
made the first necklace I'm wearing. This is my 45.
That's the original one.
That's the original.
That's the 45.
Yeah, so-
that is so cool.
I didn't take the primer out,
Nice. It's got a
which
little dent
I've
in it.
since found that that's very dangerous.
Not anymore.
Filing the back with the primer. Well, it had already been shot. So.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
And I didn't seal the bullet, and I didn't polish it. I just literally stuck it in this
Right.
silver setting.
It looks like regular brass.
And put it on a chain. Right. So that's my original. So I was wearing it one day, and somebody had said to me, you know what? That necklace you're wearing, I bet you could make a bunch of those and sell them at a gun show. And I started laughing. I said, I need more bullets.
How do I get more shell casings to make jewelry?
I got some more casings, 45s, and I drafted a way to really cut them. So now I use a, what do you call that, a drill press. I have a little, my husband made like a little dowel that you can put inside the brass so that it doesn't squish, and you put it up in the drill press.
Oh, wow.
And then I come in with a hacksaw and cut the bullet off
the rest of the
flush.
casing
Yep,
off.
and then you know, file the back and punch the primer out now. And what I replace with the primer is either a Swarovski crystal or a gem. So the other necklace that I'm wearing, which is this one, is a 9mm,
Yeah.
and that's got real turquoise in it. That is
Wow.
called Sleeping Beauty turquoise. I found a piece to fit. So the same supplier.
Very cool.
Found all the settings are 100% sterling silver.
Awesome.
Along with the chains. So we don't mess around with that. So I started presenting these, let me see, I became a business in September, this past September, very new. Started
Wait.
presenting.
Like last year?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah,
Very cool.
yeah. Went down to town hall and registered as a
DBA?
DBA. Yeah, actually a
Excellent.
sole proprietor,
Gotcha.
because I'm the only person that does this. sell something to somebody that I
That you're not
wouldn't
gonna
wear
wear.
myself. Right?
Sure, of course.
So they did very well, the first show. Then the next show was in November. I don't really remember where it was. I had a lot of shooting to do because I sold out of a lot of stuff.
That's awesome.
So it went from necklaces and earrings.
Cool.
So that's how it all kind of came together. You know, 2 life-altering events, losing my job and losing my mom.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, what do I do?
Right.
And having, you know, a friend of mine who actually sparked the interest in getting my license to
Gun
carry.
license,
And
yeah.
because I like pretty shiny things, and I think brass is kind of pretty when it's all polished up nice. You know,
that is way
and
cool.
looking on the ground and saying, "Oh, I can make a necklace out of that."
That's cool. That's way cool.
So then I have other stuff too, like the beaded necklace that was at the fashion show. I started working with pearls and trying to step up the game a little bit on some of the pieces, and I know for a fact nobody does that.
Wow.
With the pearls, and I also have a double strand pearl necklace that's called my shotgun wedding, and that's got 2 9mm bullets that sit directly above each other to signify the unity of the marriage, and then that's done in white pearls.
Wow.
And it's got a blue crystal in the middle for that something blue.
That is way cool.
Yeah.
I had this crazy idea once I had the idea for riding shotgun with Charlie. I had this idea in 2016, and in 2016 I became ordained as a minister, so I could officiate one of my friends' weddings.
Oh, nice.
Right? So then I had this idea. I'm like, you know what would be fun to do? What if I started a business and I called it Shotgun Weddings? And what I would do is I would perform the wedding ceremony, and then I would take the couple, and we would, like the wedding party, we would go out shooting after the ceremony, before the reception. We could go shooting. I'd have a photographer, get some pictures, right? And then I started thinking, I'm like, I could charge people, you know, $5,000 for this, and I could do, like, you know, in summertime I could do a wedding in whatever, one Midwestern state one day, and then the next day do another one, and then, you know, fly out for the weekend and make $10,000 officiating 2 weddings, taking people shooting. Right? So
That would be awesome.
that'd be pretty wild.
It would be different, and everybody's always looking for something different, especially on a wedding day.
Right?
You know, they
Looking for
don't-
something unique.
Right. Think out of the box.
Totally.
Shoot guns.
Totally. I know, right? Shooting guns is fun. All right, so you got the shotgun wedding. What other kind of jewelry do you do? Like, what other kind of patterns and...
Because this is so new, that's it. I mean, I do, like, the earrings that I'm wearing now.
Mm-hmm.
These are feather drops. They're all 9mm. I do regular drop earrings, and I also do studs for the earrings. So I'm still figuring stuff out because it's so new.
Yeah.
I was so busy over the winter trying to keep up with
Yeah,
the
sure.
orders
Make some stock.
from this, right, especially from the shows.
Mm-hmm.
You saw my Camaro. That I have a Camaro that I use in car shows. So my idea for this year was to attend as many car shows as I could with shots fired jewelry. Give a little to the car show and be a vendor at some of these bigger car shows. Like they just had one in Worcester,
Yeah.
where I had booked a vendor table for that show, and my car got hit. The Camaro
Yeah, that
got
could be
dented, so
That could be
we
a
didn't.
problem.
Yeah, we didn't make that show, and nor will we be making any shows in the future until the car's fixed.
Yeah, that could be a problem.
Right. So it's been very interesting. But like I said, I love shooting, and I'm all for keeping that right to keep our guns, and
Absolutely.
especially now that I have them myself,
Mm-hmm.
working on my next gun, which I'm
Nice.
hoping.
What's your
is,
next purchase? We're going to turn right?
Yep, turn right here.
What's your next purchase?
I actually want a Colt Gold Cup 45.
Really?
Yeah.
Those sound expensive.
Yeah, that's what my husband said.
Yeah.
So I'm like
So you
that
gotta sell
person
some
that
jewelry.
has to hide the guns when I come home from the gun store.
Oh, man. See, now, does your husband shoot?
No, he does
He's not a gun guy.
No,
Is that right?
he's- Not really. He will. I think he prefers the long gun.
Yeah.
and not the pistol. I had him shoot the pistol one time, and it bit him pretty good.
So you got to put both thumbs on the same side.
Yeah, that's what I kept telling him.
What's is your husband? He won't listen to you.
Right. You know, and that, I guess, according to my friend Steve, that happens a lot.
Yeah.
You know, they
for
have
sure.
couples that go into these classes, and when they get home, and they're all about practicing together, and they forget, and one will tell the other what to do, but they start to argue because they think that they're bickering
both
at
right.
each other, but they're not.
Right. Well, listen, as a guy, I want to say that we watch John Wick, and we think it's a training DVD. So, but I've noticed as an instructor.
But it isn't?
I know, right?
It isn't.
I've noticed as an instructor, women listen better than men do. So.
Right, but when we go to reiterate what the instructor says, it's not that we're nagging anybody. We're trying to say, you know, this
You don't
is
want to
how
hurt
it's
yourself,
done.
sweetheart.
Right.
Right. Don't stop.
So
Don't stop.
he hasn't picked up the pistol since then. So.
Oh, that's too
But
bad.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
Have you? So you've just talked about using 9s and 45s. Have you thought about making one of their shotgun wedding designs with shotgun shells?
I've actually done a necklace for someone who came out to one of the shows, and his daughter had 12 years old, shot her first deer
Wow.
with a 20 gauge. Yeah, and God bless her. And
That's awesome.
I actually made a necklace for her out of the shotgun. I have to work more with shotgun shells because they're much different. They're a lot softer.
Oh, right. 'Cause
And
it's
the
just,
settings to put them in, they're much thinner. So, you know, with a regular casing, like a full brass casing,
Yeah.
I can cut that as thick as I want or as thin as I want
Right.
to fit the setting. But with the shotguns, I noticed that they're coming off really thin.
Yeah. It's. I think a lot of them are made with nickel. I mean, some are made with brass, but whatever. It's just different.
Yeah, they're just a lot different. Their setup is a lot different. But another thing that I have to kind of fool around with
Mm-hmm.
and make sure I'm happy with the product before I actually put it out there.
Good call.
Yeah.
Good deal. How about rifle cartridges? You tried those?
Yes. So 45s are the same exact diameter as a 30-06.
Oh, I did not know.
Yeah. So a 30-06 and a 45 will fit in the same
In
setting.
the same setting. That's
Yep. And they're not different. The cut is the same.
right. How is it that the jewelers knew to make these just to fit ammunition?
They didn't. They didn't, because a 223 or an AR-15 is a lot smaller.
Right.
So it's an in-between size. Most jewelry companies make 8mm, 10mm, and 12mm settings, and then they go up in even numbers.
Mm-hmm.
The 9mm is actually 10mm around. So a
Really?
9mm bullet is actually 10mm around.
All right.
And you can actually test that with a revolver.
I guess that makes sense because the bullet. I mean, the caliber is the diameter of the bullet.
It should be. That's
Right,
it
but
should
I mean,
be.
so the case has got to be a little bit bigger because it's got to go around the
Correct.
around the bullet. I
Correct.
guess that
So
makes
it's
sense.
10mm around, and those fit fine in a 10mm setting.
Very cool.
So when I get to an AR-15 bullet, slightly off. They're
Gotcha.
9.5, and because they're 9.5, I can't go to an 8mm setting. So I almost have to have somebody make one for me.
Wow.
It's
Now,
like a custom. But being brand new, that hasn't happened yet.
gotcha. That'd be pretty cool when you get that up and going.
It would be. It really would be. Same with the 38. So with 38, I have the same problem. It's not the size of a 9mm. They're slightly off.
Gotcha.
So they look stupid in a bigger setting or a smaller
know, right? What if you had like black onyx, like a black onyx, and then the shell casing, the head stamp, and then the stone in the middle of that?
I haven't
That'd be
looked
too
at
cool.
any black onyx, but there is a guy at the gun shows that sells, and I don't know if you've seen them. All kinds of stones and rocks and things like that. So that might be somebody.
I try not to go to gun shows.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't. Here's my attitude. This sounds really bad.
We met.
I know, right? Here's why I don't like going to gun shows. To me, this is really bad, and I apologize in advance. To me, going to a gun show it's like going to a strip joint, because I know I'm not going home with anything. Right? Like, I'm not going to make a purchase. It's to go and see something and drool over it and be like, okay.
Now, this is another event that we're in Putnam. They closed Putnam down, and they have a lot of artists that go into the streets down there.
Oh, cool.
And sell some stuff. So I'll be joining that pretty soon.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Different venues. So the gun shows you can actually take a left here.
Take a left, all right.
The gun shows is where I started, but definitely not where
We want to stay.
my thought process is to stay.
Cool. So we're not wrapping things up yet, but how do people find your stuff?
I have a Facebook account. It's called Shots Fired Jewery.
Mm-hmm. So everyone needs to check that out and like it and follow it.
That's correct.
And share with your peeps.
And I also have an Etsy store. Again, being brand new, I'm looking to branch out and market in more areas. But again, that's where I started. So it's the Etsy or the Facebook page.
Gotcha.
And actually, the Facebook page has a Shop Now button, and that will actually bring you right to the
right to the Etsy
right
page.
to the store. Yep.
Very cool. Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like seeing people that find something they like to do, and this is what I'm doing with all of my stuff too. Is I've got something outside of what I do for a job, and put time and energy, and it gives me something to do, and you feel like you're. I'm sure with the jewelry, you feel like you're contributing, and people are getting a nice piece of jewelry to take home, and it's unique that it's a gun-related item.
It is,
So,
and I love it. And the other thing I love about the jewelry too is, if you are working in an area, being a woman, I work for a bank. There's not a lot of gun supporters in the bank.
right?
They don't realize what I have because of the design. They don't even know what it is, and I get complimented
That's the best part.
so much on my jewelry, and they don't
They
even
have
know.
no idea.
They have no idea, no. And if I ever told them, I'd probably get fired. But
Oh my gosh.
I
Now,
don't think it would be that bad, but that's the beauty of it. And I have customers, a few of them who are return customers, and they are teachers, and they are office people, and they face the same challenge I do, but they wear their piece proudly because they know what it is,
right?
and nobody else has to know.
Yeah, they've got to be closet gun owners.
Sad.
Yeah, it is. It really is. It really is.
But yeah, if you're afraid of that at work, and you don't want anybody to know what you like to do on your off time, like shoot,
Right.
like I do, then it's a perfect piece. And I also wanted to mention, I will take a bullet from somebody and make a piece of jewelry for
Out of the
them.
bullet.
Out of the bullet, right. So
Wow.
just like my first piece, it was the first 45 I ever shot. I wanted to remember that day. I made a necklace for myself.
That's cool. So if somebody wants to, like I've had buddies that, I had a buddy one time that shot a boar, and he saved the bullet that was, pulled the bullet out of the boar meat. And he kept and saved that as a souvenir too.
Yeah, same idea. And as a matter of fact, the gun store that has they also are NRA instructors where I trained. Their students, they tell their students, if you hit a bullseye when they get to that part of the class,
Yeah.
we're going to take that bullet and I will make a necklace out of it. So they can remember
that's
that they
cool.
got a bullseye in their training class.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What I do if the class that I teach in order for people to get their licenses, I do the non-live firing class. Because it's legal and it's okay. It's okay for people to do that. Anyway, But what I do is when I take people and they do live firing, if they get a bullseye on a fresh target, I take it off and I have them get I take a picture with it and I put it on my social media and
You want to go straight, but you want to be in the right lane. Sorry.
okay. And I get a picture of them. I say they should take it home and for a souvenir and have them sign it and put the date on it and stuff. And then what I do is I tell them it's all in the instruction.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
It is.
And then when they mess up, I said, well, they must have, they didn't follow the directions. But that's pretty cool.
I'll tell you, it's been a process. I can't tell you how many times before I even started selling these things, I wanted to make sure that they were perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And how many pieces I actually ruined. Trying to get the glue right, trying to get the sealing right.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Right.
But we got a perfect product now, so.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Just move on from there.
I have, not that you should get into this, but I actually have some cufflinks that are Smith & Wesson 500s.
I
which
make
are
those
pretty
too.
cool. Do you?
I do.
Oh,
I do. Actually, I didn't think that those were going to go very well.
Really?
I made 5 pair just to try them out.
Right.
I sold 5 pair in 10 minutes.
Oh my
couldn't
gosh,
believe it.
that's awesome.
I was like, 10 minutes? Are you kidding me?
You got to keep doing that.
But it was wedding season, and
right?
The guys wanted them for the wedding party.
That's way cool.
So that was kind of went along with the shotgun wedding necklace, and
It's a little kit.
it is. I put the whole display together.
That's awesome.
And also too, like bridesmaids, it's a great gift for bridesmaids because I can match any color with any of the Swarovski crystals.
Oh, nice.
They come in all birthstone colors.
Very cool.
So yeah, they're very pretty.
That's
They
awesome.
start going together. I don't think I have one that's my favorite. Because every time I pull the crystals out, I'm like, oh, that's my favorite. Oh, that's my favorite.
My favorite's everyone.
This one's pretty.
Right.
You want to take a ride at the light?
Okay.
I'll head back towards Dayville.
All right. Yeah, I got to tell you, I want to say this. The second time I wore my Smith & Wesson 500 cufflinks, I was about to MC a fashion show in Cleveland, and the post came out. Like the post and the heads, it came undone, and I was not a happy man. So I went to CVS and I got some crazy glue, and I glued the crap out of it, stuck it in there, and held it for a few minutes. Like, all right, this better hold out.
I'll have to hook you up with a tube of Jewerly cement.
Right, I know. That's a good idea.
Let's stick that sucker on there.
Cool. All right, so what else can we talk about? How many? Do you carry?
I do.
Cool.
I do. I
Got your
carry
Connecticut
when I'm
permit
home.
when you're home.
Yep, and I also carry in the house. When
That's
I'm home.
the house is where home invasions happen.
They just had one over the weekend
Really?
in my neighborhood.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was on the local radio station here, Whiny. So it was a couple of guys from Worcester. Had gone to a party at this particular house the night before.
Yeah.
They tried to get them to leave. They had to call the cops, get them out of there.
Wow.
They came back the next morning while everybody was sleeping, forced their way into the house, and they had a .45 replica BB gun. But when you're panicking, you don't know that that's
you're not looking at the barrel.
Right.
And
So they were
looking for the
definitely
little
there
orange
to
tip.
intimidate whoever was in the house.
Right.
And there's been a lot of home invasions in Connecticut. They had the poor Pettit family, which was the doctor and
his wife
and his 2 daughters were killed.
That was
with a home invasion.
That one's horrific.
Yeah. So that's why I carry while I'll be vacuuming the house and I got my pistol on me.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I a lot of the folks that I know in the gun world live by what they call POGO, pants on, gun on, right? And a couple years ago I went out to the store and I had a gun on my hip. I had an inside the waistband holster and I had a t-shirt on and a pair of shorts and I had a button-down shirt over that, but I took the button-down shirt off and I'm just doing some work at home and I got the tank top and the jeans, or the tank top and the shorts and the inside the waistband holster, and forgot that I had a gun on me. Like, right? I just forgot. I mean, the crossbreed holsters are great. Like, I absolutely love my crossbreed. Forget that it's there. But my landlord came in to pay me a visit, right? And I didn't think anything of it. Like, I forgot it was on. And then the next day on LinkedIn, he endorsed me for personal protection, for gun safety.
Really?
I thought that was pretty funny.
Oh, that is pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people are surprised by that, but
Well,
you know, crap happens, and it's not getting any safer. So
right.
now that people are getting brazen to just come into a house when you're home.
Right.
You know.
I remember hearing a story on the Boston NPR station, which I do listen to, and they had somebody on, and he sounded like a froofy Harvard professor, and he's like, well, you know, we found out that all the studies show that if your gun is properly locked and secured, and your ammunition is separate from where the gun is, and someone breaks in your house, you don't have enough time to get the gun, unlock the gun, get the ammunition, load the gun, and then go after the bad guy. And I tried calling in, I couldn't get in, but I wanted to call in and say, hey, for me, it's pogo, pants on, gun on. So if you come over to my house, and I've already been to the store, yeah, I got a gun on me. And do I sit down and watch TV with a gun on me? Yes, I do. It's just part of the lifestyle.
It's dangerous to have a nice holster that is so comfortable that you don't realize you've got your gun on you, because my fear is actually forgetting and going into the post office. Not that I go to the post office all the time, but the holster I have is formed right to my pistol, and it sits inside my pants, and I don't even feel it.
I love those.
Very
those are great.
Yeah, it is, and it's, you know, but not that I would ever forget, but
right. It's one of those things I'm always checking to make sure it's there.
Yeah.
Is it there?
Yep,
Is it there?
I know it's there. I know it's there, and I know it's there when I need it, and I've seen and heard too many bad things happening to women, especially that don't have their firearms, or never even thought to even protect themselves in that way. And I'm not going to be somebody's victim. I'm sorry. If I'm in Connecticut.
If you're in Connecticut, right.
Because unless I get another license for another state, I would have to.
Yeah, it's $100 a year for your mass license. $100 a year is what it would cost you.
And you want to take a left here?
All right, and your new part-time job would be applying for your mass license.
That is the goal. That's, you know, another reason why I started Shots Fired Jewelry, is to keep up on my gun habit now. So
I told people when I first got into shooting, and then after a couple of years I realized I could be an instructor and all that, you know, and took the instructing stuff, and I'm like, listen, I teach gun classes to support my shooting habit.
Yeah. Because
I don't want to upset the regular family budget on you know, everything else that we're gonna have for young kids.
And it's like a sickness, because you go to the store and you're like, ooh, that's nice. Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
And then cha-ching, cha-ching, and I'm like,
it's an expensive hobby.
It is.
It really is.
It is.
But it's a lot of fun. It is. It's a lot of fun. It's a good time.
So if you ask my husband, he'd say, I'd rather her have guns than horses, because that was the reason why we moved out to Connecticut.
Yeah.
It didn't work out that way. I ended up breaking my back.
Oh.
I fell off somebody else's horse.
Oh man.
And broke my back. Good. Yeah, about 3 years ago.
Yikes.
Yeah. So I was in I had a thing. What do you call those? A brace.
Brace.
For about 6 months.
Wow.
So
crazy.
there went the dreams of the horses, and along came the pistols. So,
you adapt and overcome. Adapt and overcome.
Or the 400 horses I have in the garage with the Camaro.
Right. What are we doing here?
You're gonna take a bite.
All right.
I always look. I know you're a good driver, but I always look.
No, that's fine.
It's not that I
look
don't
when other
trust
people
you.
do. That's all right. I see how it is. No, I've had some friends. I tell them I interview people in the car, and they're like, "Do you know these people?" I'm like, sometimes. And they're like, "So you're gonna get in a car with somebody that's a gun person, and you don't know who they are, and they don't know who you are?"
You know what?
I'm telling you,
people who own guns legally are not the ones that you have to be worried about.
Absolutely.
You know, that's the thing that gets me the most, is that all these rules and laws that they want to put in place are only hurting the person who actually has a gun legally.
Right.
Because a criminal is going to get a gun no matter what. It doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
They don't care about the laws.
Absolutely. All right, listen, we are where we need to be, and we're going to get you back home. But Tammy, thank you so much. Thank you for being a passenger on Riding Shotgun with Charlie.
Thank you.
How can people find you?
Again, Facebook at Shots Fired Jewelry, and I have an Etsy account, Shots Fired Jewelry CO on Etsy.
All right, so Shots Fired Jewelry is where you find all of Tammy's awesome jewelry. It's horrible that you have to go out and go shooting to keep inventory.
Oh yes, it's so horrible. I don't look at it that way.
Right. Now the cool thing is you can write the ammo off on your taxes.
Yeah, I was
it's a
trying to
business
figure out a way to write off a gun on my taxes.
If somebody needs some Smith & Wesson 500 cufflinks, you have to buy Smith & Wesson 500.
That's right.
It's all biz.
I actually have 500 casings. Just don't know how to use them yet.
That's awesome. All right, well, listen, make sure you check out Shots Fired on Facebook and on Etsy, and subscribe and like all of the Riding Shotgun with Charlie on Facebook and the podcast and all the other cool stuff. And we will see you next time on Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Thanks for watching.
Bye.